Hi, this is John Bernstein, PNC Bank Regional President and a proud sponsor and listener of Black News Hour. At PNC, we understand managing your money is a key part of managing your life. Whether you're interested in a checking product or planning for retirement, PNC is committed to creating innovative tools that help you make the most of your money and your financial future. For ideas, insights, and solutions to help achieve your financial goals, visit pnc.com/insights. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Good morning, Black Boston and everybody tuned in today. I am Janae Osterheld, Boston Globe culture columnist, a resident troublemaker, and your co-anchor of Black News Hour. Shout out to Pastor Wall. I am so ecstatic to be here with my sister friend, the Jada Turner of Black Owned Boston. If you don't know, you should know, need to know, and have to support Black Owned Boss. Black Owned Boss is a curated selection of Black-owned businesses, not just in the Boston, but in the greater Boston, New England area, where you can shop local, shop Black, and amplify yourself as well. Jada, please tell me a little bit about your earliest experience buying Black and how it became important to you.
That's an interesting question. Thanks for having me, first of all. I think that honestly, I don't have a recollection of it because it was just so natural. Like, it was just, you're supporting your community, you're supporting the shop down the block, you're supporting your friends and family. So like the concept of buying Black, supporting Black-owned businesses, it really didn't come full circle until I really learned more about kind of just the economics of my community, economics of Boston, the way that we're structured, and really what the politics of it. Really, like, why are we doing this? What's the purpose of this outside of our community when we're the only ones supporting the businesses intentionally? So really, I think that's my memory of like learning why it was important to do so and encouraging my community and fellow businesses to do the same.
And what are some of your favorite Black-owned businesses in Boston and just out in the world?
That's a good question. I hate to play favorites, so I'll think about my recent Black-owned businesses that I've supported, and I think this is a piece from Adorn Me Africa, a curated marketplace of African goods from all over the continent. She does a really great job and goes to the continent often to source locally and to introduce those brands to a new consumer stateside. So I think that's really one that kind of strikes home for me. I've worked with Praise of Adore Me Africa before at our incubator in Bow Market. She did a pop-up there, and then after the pop-up it went really well, and she has her own space now in Bow Market. So that really kind of tells the story of what we're trying to do with Black Owned Boss, is kind of close the opportunity gap, provide those opportunities for people to kind of just go off on their own with the skills that they have and the great businesses that they've already established.
Wait, and I want you to tell people about Bow Market and what you're doing at Bow Market, because having that space has led to a number of people like Joelle and others actually having permanent spaces. So can you talk a little bit about that partnership?
Yeah, for sure. So Bow Market, we have what we call now the shift space. Essentially, it's a space where businesses have turnkey fixtures in there. There's a point of sale system. It's kind of already set up for you not to have to invest too much into the infrastructure of the space, but really focus on your business and positioning it the best for a consumer base that already shops Bow Market, that frequents it. It's a great kind of thriving marketplace already in Somerville. So it is really just an opportunity for a platform for businesses to have the marketing from Black Owned Boss, to have support from Bow Market as an independent space for independent businesses to thrive on a short-term basis.
Speaking of short term, sometimes it feels like Black Owned Boss has always existed, and I just can't even remember moving around, going to the Seaport, going to Bow, going to all these different places without seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
But Black Owned Boss is actually relatively new.
Yeah.
And you've won awards, you've got funding, got businesses launched, and done all of this just in a few years. Can you kind of draw a short timeline of the beginning of Black Owned Boss when you were just kind of, towing the water versus this is what you do now?
Yeah. So it started off as a digital platform, Instagram. It was really kind of like a side project to my normal 9 to 5. And it was really about kind of like amplifying the businesses that I know and love, but then also discovering others, because what else is there to do on Instagram than discover new businesses and new content. And then fast forward to, and this was in March of 2019, that's when that started. And then fast forward to 2020, I was furloughed from my full-time job. So I was like, okay, I've already started this. This is something I'm passionate about, and really driving kind of like my interests. So I was like, I'm going full force into this. I'm not going back into the corporate world or whatever you may call it. And I just felt like this is kind of where my calling was supposed to be and my passions were. And kind of took it from just online to kind of just different strategic partnerships to make the most impact, because that's really what I think you're seeing a lot of, is that being aligned with different organizations, different resources, different collaboratives in the community, you're able to do more. So with less resources, which is really what's important when you're at the end of the day, when you want to impact as many businesses as possible and create that platform to do so.
And Black-owned bosses also kind of, I mean, obviously it's a space for Black-owned businesses to, it's like a maker space, a pop-up shop, and in some cases, an actual physical space for, 4 to 6 weeks and longer. But it's also a community. Like, when I see people with their Black-owned boss, like, buttons and tote bags, like when I am out with mine, I just feel away, and I'm like, oh, these are my people. We do the same thing. We shop the same way. Or I was at a friend's house and saw, and I know Erin has since moved, but I saw like the A butters, and I was like, hey, you got A butters. Which, for y'all don't know, it's almond butter. It's delicious. There's like flavors like cinnamon and apple and all types of things. Yeah, like it's
good stuff.
Obnoxiously good. Bring it back. But
right, come back, move back, please.
Move back. But I think about things like Beyonce's Black Parade and kind of the rollout of Black businesses she endorsed, and how Oprah's Favorite Things has evolved to include Black-owned businesses and POC-owned businesses. I feel like you are in a position to talk about the trend of buying Black versus a lifestyle of buying Black, and why it's important and what we mean when we say buy Black, because there are a certain kind of person that's like, well, if I said white-owned businesses, you'll be upset. Right. It's like, fam, your businesses are the standard every day. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think about buying Black as a movement, as introducing Black-owned businesses into your life as a normal way of life, with a normal lifestyle. Your clothing, what you shop, we're just opening up the opportunity and the option set, the consideration set when you're shopping businesses, and including Black-owned businesses into that, whether it's through just inclusive search processes, whether it's opening up your network, because if you don't know about the businesses, maybe you have a limited set of people in your life that are influencing you. So kind of taking a look at that, and if you don't know that something you own or something that you have is from a Black-owned brand, I consider that a problem, especially where we are now, and especially when you're talking about supporting local businesses as well, with black people in Boston making up about 25% of the city. I think that that's important, especially if you say that you support local businesses, you should know that something that you have is Black-owned.
Who are some of the people that inspire you? Like, I think about Kai Grant and Michelle Dalzone and some of the people that were doing similar Black pop-up shop concepts. Who are some of the people that inspire you and support you and pour into you?
That's a good question. I think about some people, honestly, from afar, especially there's a woman named Dr. Key who started the Village Market in Atlanta. And Atlanta, as you know, is a vibrant community of a lot of Black people, Black businesses, but being intentional about the way that those businesses are scaling and growing so that they're in the mainstream. And I think that has been my approach to Black-owned Boss. I think there are a lot of people in the Boston community that are doing great work in fostering community and arts and culture, like you mentioned, Kai and other folks. But I think thinking about it and in a commerce lens and a marketing lens, which is where my specialties lie, I think that has been kind of just like the key of creating more intention around commerce, retail, getting the businesses into the mainstream, to have these conversations and to be at the table when people are talking about larger projects, contracts, et cetera, but from a more content-driven, community-driven, commerce-driven lens.
Where can people find you?
everywhere. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok now. Black Owned Boss on all of the platforms, and blackownedboss.com. You can find us in real life. A lot of our projects, we have one coming up, the Seaport Black Owned Boss outdoor market that happens monthly, and we're also working on a project with WS Development for their current, which is their retail incubator that has 9 tiny homes in Seaport, being taken over right now, and that's an exciting current moment.
And we're hoping that this will be the year that we finally get to collaborate and do a Beautiful Resistance Black Owned Boss collaboration, which we've been trying to do for a while now.
Absolutely.
Speaking of a Beautiful Resistance, you know that I'm never going to let you sit with me without telling me what gives you joy.
Mm-hmm. I think it changes every single time you ask me the question, to be honest.
Every day we should be finding new pockets of joy.
I think it's really just finding joy in the moments of just unrest and relaxation and just community, and like taking those moments to pause and just enjoy yourself and just be like, and think about the things that you've done, think about the things that the people in your community have done, and just finding levity in that.
Who is someone not in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
but I think of brands like Pure Moss,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of my favorites that I regularly support. Who are some of the big national, like what Tabitha Brown just did with Target,
Mm-hmm.
And also Black Owned at Target? That Instagram page is pretty dope.
Yeah.
I feel late to the party, tardy to the party. I just found that page, and I'm like, oh my God. And Jungalow pillows are my new favorite. So.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Okay.
Yeah, so I found them through Target, but they have their own more high-end collection.
Mm-hmm.
But I found them through Opal House, and it was like with Black-owned designer, and then I just started falling down the hole.
Yeah.
But so who are some of the like kind of hidden treasures and more celebrated ones that you adore and have?
Good question. I do really like the Black and Target, and it's sad because a lot of the businesses, they aren't in the ones in Boston. The Targets in Boston that I would love to support. There was the Creamalicious ice cream that came out with the whole nonsense with the Walmart Juneteenth ice cream, and that one was discovered, so I went immediately to the Target website to see if I could find it. I think the closest one was maybe like Virginia or something like that, so that was sad. But there's I have my eye on an Albany Park sofa that I would love to purchase. It's a Black-owned home furnishings company. They have great style, so that is on my list.
Okay.
That is on my list.
I'm actually glad you brought up Juneteenth. Can we talk about where support of Black culture and Black business goes wrong, like with what Walmart did, and also, the way people treat it, like, we're in Black Business Month, and it's like, oh, well, that's what I did this month, or that's what I did on Juneteenth. So how do people properly and effectively support the community?
It's really about, I think, when I think about these moments like Black History Month or Juneteenth, a lot of times it's like late and too little. So like thinking about how do we integrate this into our just normal workflow when we're talking about content or the plan for the year, and being intentional about it and making sure the people that can make the decisions and have the access to the purse strings are at the conversation, having those conversations so that it's a priority. I think when something is optional or when something's free, a lot of times people think, oh, we're doing good. But a lot of times when you have free services, it gets free attention. So being intentional about the resources that are put behind things, and having the people at the table that are celebrating these moments intentionally, whether it's Juneteenth, whether it's Black History Month, is somebody at this conversation actually celebrate Juneteenth? Do they know where it started? Do they have somebody that knows somebody at least? So that it's authentic when you're recognizing these moments, and you're talking to the community that would benefit from it.
And then there's this thing that happens, like I love the 15% pledge,
Yes.
and what Aurora James is pushing. But what I would also like to see is if Sephora or Target or one of these big box companies is going to bring on a Black brand, it's not enough to just add us to the shelves. How are you helping this small business scale? Because they might not be prepared for, when Oprah drops your name, you might not be prepared to have your website shut down.
Literally.
So how can they be more mindful about the other ways in which you're supporting a Black business?
It's really about understanding that going outside of the status quo is going to require doing things outside of the status quo, whether it's more resources, whether it's more attention to the business, whether it's different even procurement practices, whether it's like net 30. Some businesses can't support a net 30 payment terms, or net 60 or 90 that some people subscribe to as a business. So being able to kind of accommodate when you're looking to be more inclusive. So your practices around diversifying your shelves has to flow through the rest of the company, and how you're getting the businesses into your brand, how you're supporting them. It's going to take a little bit more, but at the end of the day, that's where the impact happens.
Jada, I am always amped to be in your presence and just share space with you. You're literally one of my favorite movers and shakers in Boston.
Appreciate that.
One of my favorite things about Black Owned Boss is the vibe. There's always a DJ, there's always music. So what can I expect to hear at the next Seaport pop-up?
Absolutely Beyonce. You have to hear the new album. It'll be there, it'll be playing. Everything, just so that people feel when they come there, they feel like they're hearing new music for the first time. They're hearing new cultures. We have everything from the electric music for the electric slide. We have Candy going, but then you have South African music that people are discovering for the first time. Or you're hearing Last, you're hearing Burna Boy. You're hearing all of these different kind of like cultures fusing together. So that just feels like a vibe, and it's something you want to like. I'll see what's going on.
What's your favorite song on the Beyonce album?
Right now, it's Heated.
Okay.
It's Heated.
Okay, right now, I every day it changes.
Right.
Yeah, every day it changes. Today, I'm like very in the thick mindset. I'm like, that's where I'm feeling that right. You know, I'm very there today. It's my fiber. So, what makes your life a beautiful resistance? Before I let you go,
my life is a beautiful resistance because I refuse to reject. I refuse to accept that doing business is just limited to your own business. You are able to do business. You are able to be in the business of doing good and to help others while still being fruitful in the work that you're doing.
We are Black News Hour with Jada Turner of Black Owned Boss. Support her, support Black Boston, support Black businesses.
Thank
you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Black News Hour audience, please support Globe Summit. Join the Boston Globe for Globe Summit 2022, the next Boston, a virtual experience taking place September 14th to 16th. The second annual event extends our award-winning journalism beyond the page with 3 days of thought-provoking sessions focusing where our region is heading and who is leading the way. Hear from speakers, including Sam Watterson. I'll be in conversation with Mayor Michelle Wu. We'll have Ibram Kendi, and so much more. You can register for all of Globe Summit for free at globe.com/summit, globe.com/summit, and don't forget to follow at Black Owned Boss. I am about to do a little dance because the Nicole Obi of BACMA is joining me in this chair at PNC.
Good morning.
Good morning, beautiful. Can we get into this outfit?
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I don't even remember where I got this outfit from, but I am happy to share. I always like to buy from Black-owned businesses. I think I got this in France, actually, a few weeks ago from a Black-owned business there.
And you didn't pack me in your suitcase? How could you leave me out of Paris? So, first, for the people who don't know, can we tell them what BACMA is and why the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts is important?
Yeah, thank you again. So the Black Economic Council was actually born as a reaction to the 2015 Federal Reserve Bank of Boston study that found that the average net worth of Black Boston households was $8. And several Black business leaders came together and formed this body in order to help to advance the economic well-being of Blacks across the Commonwealth, whether they're business owners or residents. And so since its inception, the organization's been focused on policy and advocacy, but also in providing support and programming to Black-owned businesses and our residents.
And you all have done quite a bit, like policy-wise, just advocacy-wise, fighting for people. I know when Shagun was at the head, he was like out front and very fighting, and you are out here in the front fighting on the front lines, making sure that these businesses and these communities are heard. Can you just really get into why supporting Black businesses and supporting Black economic justice is a social justice issue? Because I think some people, for some reason, don't understand why this is actually a real civil rights issue. When we're talking about Black business and Black economics, this is a justice conversation.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So there are 2,000 Black-owned employer firms across the Commonwealth, and they contribute over $2 billion to this Massachusetts economy and employ thousands of Black and brown residents. And so they are a key component of our economy, and they are critical, really, to making sure that the economy is able to grow and prosper, and that we are providing good jobs to our communities and beyond. And so supporting these businesses is supporting the greater Massachusetts economy. And we are not going to be able to realize the full potential of the Massachusetts economy until the Black economy is thriving.
Something you all did last year is tour the state.
Yes.
And I know that for some people, and I think part of it is because Boston is a quarter Black, they think of BECBA and they only think Boston. Why is it important that people understand this literally is the Black Economic Council of the state? It's for the whole state, and we need to kind of get into the practice of going beyond Boston and looking at the communities across our state.
Absolutely. As the Fed study found, that because the focus was on Boston and the net worth was $8 in Boston, you can imagine what the net worth is across the Commonwealth. In some cases, it's negative. And so we want to make sure that we are representing not just Boston, but we recently piggybacked on that tour that we did last year, and we spent 6 months in Springfield, and we worked with 80 businesses there and helped to provide support to those businesses. We also just recently conducted the Attorney General's Forum in Lawrence, Massachusetts. So it's critically important that we continue to collaborate with local leaders outside of Boston and within Boston to really help to make sure that we are building on this positive momentum, whether it's in the advocacy space. So we're right now working on a Get Out the Vote effort. It's not just going to be in Boston, it's going to be across the state. And also helping to make sure that we're supporting the great businesses that are spread out across the Commonwealth.
We have a new administration.
Yes.
We're about 3/4 into the first year. What are some things this new administration can be doing better, and what are some things that they've done that you've been inspired by and happy to see?
Well, the city of Boston in particular, with Mayor Wu, has a long way to go. So a disparity study was conducted in 2018 that found the city of Boston had only spent 1.2% on Black and brown businesses. That's off of a $2.1 billion spend. So there's no place to go but up, and we're happy to see that Mayor Wu and my predecessor, Shiguna Dowu, have begun that process of climbing out of that hole, really, by doing things like awarding the largest contract to a Black-owned firm ever in the city's history, to City Fresh Foods, to feed all of Boston, all the children in the Boston public school system. They've also created a sheltered market program. That is the first time that they've been able to do that, which is also affording new opportunities to Black-owned businesses. But still, there's so much more that needs to be done. And so we are looking forward to seeing more progress being made around inclusive procurement and around supporting Black-owned businesses within the city of Boston.
And when we talk about the city and its historic lack of support of getting Black vendors, Black contractors, issuing Black businesses liquor licenses, when you say we're supporting a Black business, can you break down how that supports the community, how that supports schools, how that supports, homemakers and individuals, because I think people forget that we're actually talking about human lives, like we're talking about people.
No, it's back to the point that small businesses in particular really are the backbone of our economy. And so when a restaurant's able to get a liquor license, that's going to increase their revenues, allow them to hire more workers, and inevitably those workers then spend more money, and oftentimes it's within the community. And so there's a ripple effect. And so it's important that we definitely support our residents, but when you support a Black-owned business, you really are fueling a larger economy and a larger impact.
Let's talk about Black women. We are the largest growing number of Black-owned startups and entrepreneurs, but we are the least funded and supported, often taking several jobs, overeducated for what we're doing, and just undersourced. How can we combat this problem, and why is it important that we continually talk about this?
Black women are mothers, they are also often caregivers, and so supporting them again is really important for us to be able to make progress. When you support a Black woman, you are really amplifying the impact that it's having on that family's wealth, as well as the businesses that she's supporting through her employment, as well as the dollars that she's spending. And so that is something that we are very much focused on making sure that we're making happen with BECMA. When not all of our programming is specific to female entrepreneurs, but having been a female entrepreneur myself, it is something that we are mindful of, and that we go out of our way to make sure that we are holding up Black women entrepreneurs.
What called you to this work?
It's an interesting story. I don't have a background in nonprofit, so I started off as an entrepreneur myself, and I think that really fueled me, where for the first many years of my career, I had to get on a plane and leave Boston to do the great work that I was doing. And that always stuck with me throughout my career.
Tell our listeners what the great work was.
Sure. So I did 2 venture-backed startups very early on in my career coming out of business school. And then from that, I was able to launch my own consulting firm. And my earliest clients were venture capitalists, and then more traditional companies like Visa and Volvo and Commerce Bank and Becton Dickinson and Johnson & Johnson. But in that time period, I only had one Boston-based, Massachusetts-based client, and that was a Black woman who hired me, Benny Wiley, and that was it. And so in that time period, I always had to leave this town, even though I demonstrated that I was doing great work. And so I never forgot that. And when I learned about BECMA and its mission, it really resonated with me, and it made a lot of sense to me that this is a place that I wanted to come to and contribute to. And so a lot of the work that we do is very much focused on supporting Black-owned businesses and being sure that they're able to thrive. And we really do that by focusing on ownership, because that's a key driver to what happened, which drove down the net worth of Black-owned businesses and other residents. We also focus on entrepreneurship as a way to help close the racial wealth gap, as well as placement of more Black people in Massachusetts in the skilled workforce, and then finally commerce and supporting our businesses in all the things that they need to do to effectively sell their goods and services, but also work with our allies in helping them to recognize and then remove those barriers to actually accomplishing their supplier diversities or their ESG goals.
I'm so grateful you followed your spirit and your calling and all the way to BECMA and are creating all this change for us. Who are some of your favorite Black-owned businesses?
I, like Jada, can't call favorites. She's actually one of the entrepreneurs that we love working with. Anytime that we can work with a Black entrepreneur who is supporting other Black-owned businesses, like Black-owned Boss, we'd love to amplify them and provide them support. Others are, most recently, the Jerk Festival. We supported that in really having a great event. We also spent time out in Western Mass, and while there were about 80 businesses out there that we worked with, one of my favorites to work with was Standout Truck, which was a Black-owned advertising firm. So that's just to name a few.
All right. What gives you joy?
My family gives me joy. So I really enjoy spending time with them, even just relaxing or just discovering new things, new places around town.
What music are you listening to lately?
My music director is my 12-year-old daughter, and so she loves the new Beyonce album. And so we're working our way through that.
Listen, we're just it's a Beyonce Friday.
It is.
What's her favorite song right now?
I'm going to get the title wrong. She's going to be mortified, but we're both Virgos, so.
Oh, Virgo's Groove.
Yes.
Okay. Jada's a Virgo too. I just saw the hands go up. I am a Leo, so I'm more in that girl energy.
Okay. My husband's a Leo, so I get you.
So you already know what you're dealing
Yes.
with. What makes your life a beautiful resistance?
The work that I'm doing here at BECMA is my resistance. I think it's just an amazing time and opportunity, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to do and lead this wonderful organization, this great team. If I could, we would love to have you come out to our upcoming Mass Black Expo. That's going to be held on September 23rd at the Boston Convention Center.
I already told Shagun.
All right.
Any request from BECMA is a yes. I love the work y'all do. Whatever you need me to do, call me. I will show up. and
That'll be
there.
fantastic.
I will lock it in on the calendar. No, I adore you. I find BECMA and its leadership to be exemplary of what a beautiful resistance is and what it means to resist and hold space in our state and our city. So thank you so much for sharing space with me and sharing your joy with me and just doing the work that benefits not just Black people but all of us, because when we're thriving, the community as a whole is thriving.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Black News Hour. It's always that time to give back and show love, so I want to talk a little bit about Globe Santa. Each holiday season, Globe Santa gives the gift of joy to thousands of children and families in the greater Boston area. This year, for the first time, you can help Globe Santa to deliver the additional gift of learning by purchasing school supplies for children in need. Donate by shopping our Amazon wish list at globe.com/school supplies so we can make going back to school joyful for all. Again, that's globe.com/school supplies. Let's get into Globe Santa and jingle all year long. I don't know if you're hungry, but it's early in the morning and I am like, maybe I might have been lucky enough to drink some carrot juice kind of gal. And I'm hungry, so I really need Emmanuel Merville of Everybody Gotta Eat to join me in the seat.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey.
Just taking it easy.
Thanks for pulling up.
Good morning.
Everybody Gotta Eat is a food blogger, food consultant, and vibe curator. And aren't you about to get into Zaz Fest?
Yeah, in a few hours I'll be at Zaz Fest, Seaport. It's gonna get crazy. It's a
How
two-day
so?
festival.
Tell us about it, this two-day festival.
It's music, it's Afro beats, it's Jamaican. It's a little bit of everything. We're doing food over there. It's gonna get crazy. in
What kind of
Seaport.
food you doing over there? Because you didn't bring me a plate. Everybody Gotta Eat. This is the food phantom. I was thinking I was gonna come in here and it was gonna smell all like, you know.
No, I wanted to bring some brunch, but Zaz Fest kind of got me all tied up.
I forgive you.
I did an event yesterday in Cambridge Crossing with AE Events, and I didn't even get no sleep last night, so I'm just running off coffee. And
All right, well, now we gotta have a talk about, Jada already knows I'm about to get on you. Listen, I know that having a Black-owned business and just being a person alive of any identity right now is exhausting. We're in the pandy, but rest is important. Follow the That ministry,
I'm
find
trying.
your moments, try a little harder. For those of you who have not eaten a Zaz, you got to eat a Zaz, Black-owned business. In fact, Jada, who was here earlier, had Zaz at one of the pop-ups at Bow Market, and when I tell you the line was like practically wrapped around Somerville, it was practically wrapped around Somerville. People definitely didn't get all the plates they wanted. So you want to come out this weekend and do that. How did Everybody Gotta Eat start? Tell people what exactly you do.
It's a long story, but it's really not that long. I always loved food. Maybe ever since I was 13, I knew I wanted to do food. And I started snapping pictures of food. And one day I went to this girl's bar, and I went with my friends, were drinking and stuff, and she told me she had a food blog. And I always wanted to do one, and I always told myself I was going to do it, but I just never did it. So when I seen her blog that day, shout out to Jessica too. She, I forgot the name of the page, but I seen her blog, and I'm like, I could do this. And I already had all the videos and stuff in my phone. So that night, I didn't go to sleep. I created the email. I just started loading pictures and videos on my phone, and I didn't tell nobody about it. I just kept working, and just everybody got to eat.
And let's talk about Everybody Gotta Eat, because I know growing up, we used to say that, and that was like a way of it was like an equalizer and a like, I see you, I love you, like everybody gotta eat. If we gonna share this last, if I gotta give you my last little bite of macaroni, it's a love language, but we all gonna eat. Everybody gonna get fed, everybody gonna get paid, like nobody left behind. How did you come to take that kind of branding, that name?
I don't know. Me and my friend used to always say it. Everybody gotta eat. Everybody gotta eat. And with me, I really embody that. You know what I'm saying? So all my friends, they know they're gonna eat. Whether it's food, whether it's a business opportunity, whether I'm just throwing a new business in my story, or just promoting different people doing things in the city and all over the world. So that's how I live by. That's like my motto. I like everybody gotta eat.
So a lot, in addition to having gorgeous photos of food and kind of curating Black-owned restaurants for us to all eat at, and restaurants period, you also do events like Zaz Fest and brunches and just a total vibe. It's a total vibe with food and music. How did your Haitian upbringing contribute to this idea of food as a love language, food as a party, food as a community?
It started when I was young, just, tasting food, your mother making food, giving you little pieces. And I just always love food. I don't know if maybe I'm greedy. I'm probably not the only greedy person here, but
You're not.
Just always had a love for food.
What kind of food we talking? What was she cooking? Take me there.
My mom's Haitian, so we're doing the fried rice. The black rice, the rice and beans, the fried goat, the beef, the legumes, a lot of French and Haitian.
I unforgive you again. You didn't bring me any goat or black rice. I'm so hungry.
No, the flavors are crazy. The marinations that they do, it's just, I had no choice.
So now you share that love with everybody else and continue that legacy of her feeding you to you feeding the community.
I'm doing a cookout next Sunday. It's called Everybody Gotta Eat, 3rd annual cook-off. We do it for the community where I bring all the grills out and we just eat. The whole city comes out and feels good.
And to your point, there's a philanthropic message behind some of what you do. I know you've done, I think, backpack.
Oh, backpack giveaways?
Yes.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. We try to give back to the community as much as we could, and I try to bring everybody with me. Beautiful Resistance, Boston Wild Black, whoever wants to contribute or help. I try to bring all the people that are doing things and just bring it together.
Who are some of your favorite Black-owned restaurants in the city?
Man,
And I mean, just because you name 5 here, it doesn't mean those are the only 5. Because I know none of y'all want to pick favorites. So just name some of the ones that you feel like folks should be eating this month.
I mean, there's so many restaurants. Highland cuisine, I grew up on that. I'm from Cambridge. It's in Somerville. You know, they got some of the best Haitian food in the city.
What do you order there?
I ordered the red snapper. I ordered the fried beef, the fried goat. I mean, I ordered the whole menu, honestly. The fried meatballs, the Haitian meatballs, the
Black
boulet.
News Hour, are y'all hungry? I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat. Where else?
That's one of the spots. Obviously, Zaz. Zaz is one of my spots. Like the lo mein, the salmon, the Thai fried rice. Also, what else? Gourmet fish and Gourmet Kitchen in Randolph. There's so many people. I'm probably gonna forget a few, but few places.
Something you and I were talking about earlier that I want to hit back on is how across the diaspora, so many Black people and folks of color and immigrant folks, the food that we celebrate is our dishes that we made because we didn't have much. Can you talk about that concept of kind of making something from nothing and feeding many?
I think it's like a love language. You know, people love food, and creating something that from nothing, basically, like whether it's rice, whether it's chicken, people putting love into their food and feeding people is just a love language, basically. So, I mean, I'm just thinking about the food right now, but like even like people that grew up in Haiti, that's all they have is creating these dishes that they don't have no money, so they got to make the best of their dishes and make sure it's good, because that's the only thing they got to look forward to. So that's how I feel about that.
When people talk about eating at Black restaurants, I often remind them that when you're eating at a Black restaurant, you're not just supporting a Black business, you're supporting a community hub. Like, this is where we gather, it's where we meet, it's where we have meetings. Like, so many of my meetings to discuss business, to discuss stories are at restaurants. It's like a safe place, especially in a city like Boston, where nightlife has been a challenge for us. You know, shout out to Sheena Collier and Boston Wide Black for creating spaces. Everybody Gotta Eat creating spaces, Jada creating spaces, but we actually have to create, that's the point, we have to create spaces in this city. So many establishments have not welcomed us. So when you're talking about a Black restaurant, you're really talking about a safe space for Black people to dream and to have joy and to kind of build their own spaces of joy and recreation. Why is it essential that we pour funding into these spaces?
I mean, it's so hard to be a business owner. You know, not having funding can kill your business, you know what I mean? So we definitely need more funding, more programs to help people get off their feet. So people like, what's the name of the company?
Beckman?
Beckma. Like places like Beckma, we need more of that, you know what I'm saying? I know probably like 1 million small businesses that if they got a little help, you know, they could probably take off. So it's definitely important for people like Beckma to be out here helping people and giving people resources. So
Absolutely support the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts, please. You know, I've been asking everybody about the music, and part of your thing is literally a festival. It's a vibe, it's music, it's food. So one, I want to know what you personally cook and what you listening to when you cook.
I'll probably cook some jerk chicken, lobster, you know, a little bit of everything. Seafood, I love seafood.
My
Crab
stomach
legs.
feels so betrayed by you.
I'm hungry myself right now. Like, I'll be at Zaz Fest going crazy today, so.
What are you listening to while you cook?
I like Nipsey. He's one of those guys that kind of inspired us. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, hustle and motivate.
Yeah, he just put everything on the line. He inspired me. He definitely inspired me. And even though he's gone, he's still living on through his music. So I think he motivates us all to just put it all on the line and go hard every day. So Nipsey's definitely one of the guys I'm listening to. I haven't heard the Beyonce album. I need to.
I mean, I feel like you heard it just because
Yeah, like
you done heard every song
I definitely
title.
need to hear Beyonce after today. So
What gives you joy?
helping people, putting smiles on people's faces, feeding people. That's what gives me joy.
What makes your life a beautiful resistance?
I've been trying to answer that question for 2 years probably now.
Yeah, I've literally
Right.
been asking Emmanuel for 2 years straight. And he's been like, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out that, but just overcoming all the obstacles I came over and still pushing through to help people, and that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying?
You feed people.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally feed people. I can't think of any other thing in a world where we are consistently starved of dreams, starved of joy, starved of actual nutrients. You are feeding people and creating space that allows them to thrive. That literally is a beautiful resistance. When I asked about your cooking, I would like to know who, like, I'm imagining your mom taught you to cook?
Honestly,
to cook?
I
How'd you
think
learn?
I'm a self-learner, really. I feel like my taste buds tell me what to put in there, but obviously the Haitian seasonings using the what they call that ippies. Once you got that base,
So
and you
what's in that
marinate your
base?
food, oh man, they put all types. It depends. Everybody does ippies different.
What's in
But,
your base?
Honestly, I make one of my aunts make it and just do my own thing with it. I don't really.
You see how he's not trying to tell me the secret?
I can't give you all the
He,
sauce.
he
but,
will not give me the Merville sauce. He's like,
no.
no. He's like, look, it's just some stuff. Okay.
Yeah, no, they
a little of this, a little of that.
those are like centuries and centuries of them recreating that. I think Spanish people have one called, what is it called?
I mean, the Southerners
Yeah.
have the Trinity, which is like celery, onions, garlic. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nothing nearly as fancy, but
Yeah, no, they
there's
have some secrets, you know what I'm saying?
a little Lowry's, a little Razzle Dazzle, some Old Bay.
No, definitely. This Sunday, today and tomorrow we're gonna go crazy, but next Sunday we're going real crazy. If you guys are free, come eat, come vibe.
Give us the actual details. How do we get to Zaz Fest? What are the tickets? Where do you buy them? And then tell us about how to get to the cookout before.
So Zaz Fest, it's on Zaz Fest Boston on Instagram. They have a Eventbrite. It's right here in the Seaport. I think I see her signs all over the Seaport over there. Boston Wild Black.
Black on Boss.
Yeah, Black on Boston. Shout out to Boston Wild Black Bands
Oh,
Fest,
yeah.
all them people
All of
that
them.
are doing their thing in the city too. But it's definitely a nice platform. I always wanted to go to one of her events. One of my friends, Full Moon Botanic, is over there and stuff like that. So
I mean, this just means there has to be a Everybody Gotta Eat activation at Black on Boss. I mean, we're
Oh,
just
no.
here building relationships.
no, we definitely ready to
today.
pull up. I'm always ready to pull up. But the cookout is August 28th. It's in Cambridge. It's right across from the projects where I grew up. MIT, Harvard is right in the between. It's right next to MIT. It's 155 Harvard Street, right next to Izzy's. This is our 3rd annual.
Are there tickets or we just come up?
No, just pull up, come eat, come vibe. There's no tickets. Just come ready to eat.
And everybody has to follow at Everybody Gotta Eat.
Yeah, at everybody gotta _eat on Instagram. Working on the website. Shout out to Pepsi. They're helping me with the site. We working.
We work now. I want to thank you so much for being here with me today and just sharing your beautiful resistance and feeding us. Literally
Yeah. No, I
feeding
got y'all
us.
next time.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you fed us spiritually. I'm gonna have to come and get that
Yeah.
plate later.
No, definitely. We'll be out there all day on the grills.
So thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to invite DJ to Turner back up to help me close out this hour.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Once again,
Yeah.
at everybody
At everybody got an _eat on Instagram.
_eat. All right.
And, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Ooh.
I want to show some love to my co-anchor, Tiana Woodard, who is normally with me. Get well soon. And I want to thank my lovely Jada Turner for kind of co-anchoring a little bit with me. I want to invite everybody to sign up to the Black News Hour newsletter. Keep the conversation going with Globe's Black News and our Black journalists. Sign up for show recaps. Go deeper with the issues. Sign up now at globe.com/Black News Hour. Support your local Black newsmakers and watch us witness. Jada, I know we talked a little bit about Beyonce, but let's talk about, what's going. I love that Everybody Gotta Eat just mentioned BAMS Fest, Boston While Black. There's so many people carrying on the traditions of our elders of making space in this great city and the state. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the people who are making change that our listeners should know about?
Got a good list started. We got Boston While Black with Sheena Collier. We got BECMA. We have BAMS Fest, Catherine Morris, doing great things. Also Spark FM with Danielle Johnson, Miss Hot Sauce. I just find it incredible that a lot of people are realizing, like you mentioned, like we have to create space. Like we can't wait for others to do it for us. We can't just go on about our lives kind of just living in the mundane or the mediocre, or complaining about Boston or complaining about what we don't have, and thinking about what are the skills within us that we can make it the city that we want it to be. And I think so many people are doing that in their own lanes, which is great, and working together to do so.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't have to be a competition.
Exactly.
Like I can see you, you can see me, and we can do these things together in tandem, in harmony. Like it doesn't have to be I'm eating and you're not, To Emmanuel's point, everybody got to eat. We can all do this together. And there's this thinking that, people who aren't from out, you and I've talked about this before, folks who aren't from here or don't live here have this idea that there's just no Black folks here. And it's like, fam, we're a quarter of the city. It's actually just about more folks of color collectively from all identities than it is white people. So we have to change that narrative. We have to create those spaces.
Absolutely.
And something I see that happens with Black Owned Boss is as we create space for ourselves as Black folks, it creates space for other folks of color, for queer folks, for disabled folks. It gives that empowerment, like, yo, I can shine too. Can you talk a little bit about that domino effect?
For sure. I think any project that we're working on, it's kind of asking those questions of clients, of partners, like, what are these practices that are in place right now? What's the status quo, and where are the points in that step where we're questioning it? And like you mentioned, that opens it up for everybody to have more inclusive spaces, because we're thinking about, okay, at this pinch point, we're only talking to X, Y, and Z for this opportunity. Why not reach out to this organization? Why not connect with this person or this speaker? Just really widening that gap where people can kind of fill in and make space for other folks.
Now, I know we've talked about Black Owned Boss, and I think people often see you and they're like, oh, Jada hosts all these other Black businesses, and then Black Owned Boss itself is a Black owned business. But you also have Black Girl Magic. For the folks who don't know, tell them a little bit about your bookmarks and buttons and notebooks and sweatshirts that I need to stop buying. Too many dope bookmarks, Tia and Tamara bookmarks.
Yeah, so actually BGM Apparel, or Black Owned Magic, was where I started in entrepreneurship. It was really a way for me to learn about different design platforms and different things. Like, honestly, every business that I've started is really kind of like, how do I learn more? How do I be, that's kind of like just I think my life is like, how do I learn more? What new skills can I kind of adapt? And that is kind of like carried on with me. It's really kind of just a platform for self-expression, identity. I had made one sweatshirt, and then I went down to DC just for myself. I was like, where do I get that? I was like, I'm not sure just yet. But then when I came back to Boston, I was like, oh, maybe I'll turn this into a business. Maybe this will be an opportunity for me to just have a creative outlet that I'm able to share with other people, and kind of on autopilot right now.
I mean, just getting bigger, bag getting bigger, stacks getting, it's the Beyonce state of mind. It's a full
energy.
renaissance. It's the energy.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. And before we go, just give me, a last word, a mantra for the city, for Black Boston.
This is for everybody. I think that, like Amanda mentioned, everybody's got to eat. And when you think about Black business, they're not just for Black people. There's so many different businesses, and that's one of the things that we try to do with Black Owned Boss. Any experience that we have, it's a diverse group of businesses. You'll find things for pets, you'll find things for your kids, hot sauce, clothing, apparel. Everybody uses those things. So kind of breaking out of that mindset that Black businesses are for Black people, they're for everybody.
That part, everybody can enjoy Nope. Everybody can enjoy Carrie Mae Weems. Everybody can enjoy Beyonce. Everybody can enjoy things that Black folks make and do, as they always have. Our culture is the culture. Thank you so much. Thank you, Black News Hour. Thank you, Black Boston. Everybody get your joy and be in your beautiful resistance.